pretty nicely too for that. And I hope the child has been put in a place where she can get some help. There's going to be some scars left from that there, and that's just not. It's disturbing. I don't know why people are so miserable about themselves, their own existence, that they just seek these things out. I guess he had been on what, Snapchat or something.
Yep, she. So the reason why she got the beating that she got from her father was because she downloaded the social media app called Snapchat, where you record quick little clips, videos, and then you share the videos with your friends. You can send them either personally to like one person, or you can send them to a group of people so that everybody can see what you're doing. And it's what she was doing. I guess he didn't want her using social media. He thought she was too young to use social media because as he was beating her, he kept yelling, "You want to be grown? You want to be grown? This is what happens when you're grown." And then proceeded to beat her.
That's nuts. That's not. It's like, you're the father. Why'd you buy the equipment?
Right.
Obviously. Oh, she's about 14, 50. Maybe she had a little job. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, all you need is a cell phone. If you have a cell phone, you can get Snapchat. You don't need anything else. All it's an app on your cell phone. So maybe she had the cell phone because she had to respond, or while her father and mother were working, they could call her and see how things are going. Who knows? Either way, that was
Yeah.
really unnecessary.
That was beyond unnecessary. That was criminal.
Mm-hmm.
And the person should be brought up on charges, and the kids should not be allowed in the house. If there's any other kids in the house, they need to be taken in. Then there need to be a follow up with serious therapy, not this pseudo therapy that they have out here now that people run to just because they want to join the herd of miserables.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, serious counseling and stuff. And then maybe in a few years, they can reunite with the child. I would suggest the child move on. Stop making your own life and stuff. There's people out there that probably can help you. You can get some. I don't know what they do or where they do, but it got to be better than getting beat like a wolf or a stray animal, and then get your head shaved like you're getting ready to be filleted open for dinner.
Right.
It's just nuts.
You would think that in today's climate, parents would know better. Like for
Yeah.
me, I know better. I know that if I beat my kids like that, I'm going to jail. You
Yeah.
would think they would know better. But the father, not only did he beat her, not only did he shave her head, not only did he record it, but he put it on Facebook happily. Like, yeah, I'm the man. This is how you discipline your children.
Yeah, he nuts.
He boasted about it.
He boasted about being able to beat a child. You know, and that's how some people are. They think that they are manly because they can beat somebody that's weaker than they are.
Yep. Uh, Alex Harrison, which is his name, 30 years old, proudly shared the video on Facebook and Snapchat earlier this week before being arrested at his home in Faraday, Louisiana.
Oh, he used Snapchat.
Yep. At the beginning of the footage, he said she want to be grown. She getting her blank whooped and her hair bald. School is for work, not effing Snapchat. She ain't got no business with no snap anyway. Stay tuned. He identified the girl as a ninth grader. Children in that grade are 14 or 15. Throughout the footage, she is wearing a Despicable Me t-shirt. The video, which was shot by someone else, then cut to Harrison shouting at the girl as she wept into her hands, her hair already shaved off. In another frame, he is seen standing over her in a red t-shirt as she lay on the edge of her couch at his command. He whipped her with the belt several times, ignoring her agonizing screams and telling her to move her hands and feet, which she used to try to block the blows. The beating lasted a minute and a half and included 50 strikes. Throughout it, Harrison can be heard shouting, "You want to be grown." He also insulted the girl's personal hygiene and said she did not know how to change her tampon. Um, he's in jail, so that's good.
he got issues. He got issues, and the reporting on this has issues too.
Yep.
The crime here is that this child was brutalized by somebody that they would have trusted and loved and all that, and is brutalized. There's a lot of trauma to be seen just by highlighting the number of strikes that was given, and highlighting the personal hygiene habits of the child and stuff. Unnecessary, because it doesn't. For me, anyways, it doesn't add or subtract from the severity of the beating. That person needs to be in jail. Then it needs to be counseled. The kids need to be counseled. Person taking the thing, they need to be locked up too. They didn't intervene to try to stop this. It's like this is something that really needs to be addressed on a higher level. Not something that could be given all these strenuous type of comments about the stuff like this. That didn't need to be put out there and stuff. So,
a texter says he's upset she used social media, yet he used social media to post about it. I
saw that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of brain matter going on here. The gray cells seem to be asleep a lot in that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like it's social media. They're skipping.
Yeah. This is a really tough to deal with, but it is,
and I don't think it's all that unique either. Maybe the severity of it and the way it was put out there on social media is bad. But I think that people discipline their kids, and there's a lot of trauma from the way that they're disciplining their kids now too.
Did you ever get disciplined like that?
Beat like that?
Yep.
Nah, not like that. I got beat all the time.
I got disciplined pretty close to that. I mean, that might not have been 50 times, but that doesn't look out of the ordinary from when I used to get beat.
No, I got hit with the belt.
Yeah, that's what he hit her with.
Lot of slaps and get the lecture. Oh, hit me some more.
Yeah.
Instead of all this lecturing. Yeah, I got that. And then got punished.
Yep. See, I didn't get punished, and I didn't get my head shaved, but I certainly got the belt. Like I said Tuesday, belt, extension cord, whatever they could use, whatever was able to be used, a switch. I got it used on me. I used to get beat a lot, and I think that we came from a culture where beating was the form of discipline.
Yeah, it's good. And some of the discipline, all of the times I got beat, it was like, what am I getting beat for? I was always the innocent. But that's okay. And then the punishments actually, as I look back on them, actually were good for me. I got punished, so you get sent to the room. There ain't nothing in the room. You can't play with anything. You don't have anything. But right outside my room was the bookcase with the encyclopedia. So when I got punished, I just grabbed the encyclopedia. And I would just thumb through the encyclopedia. So it was actually good for me. But today's punishment, you send the kid to their room, that's their cave.
Yep.
Go in your cave and with all your fine toys and stuff. Yeah. And that's only for the parents, I think, too. I think that the computers and all most of the social media up to a certain age should be in sight of the parents. In the living area of the house. That's where it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
That was wrong. He should be in jail, especially today. But he's down south. That's Louisiana. That's like the heart of down south. I'm not trying to say people in Louisiana are behind in the times.
No, Worcester is.
I don't know if Worcester's really behind in the times. Not like that. Worcester is very current when it comes to social issues, and I mean, we may be ahead of the time when it comes to social issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Well, I was going to talk about that on a different show. I was going to break down the way that the United States is formed.
Yeah.
Not the New England area. We're all about merchandise and stuff and business and everything. We got Wall Street, New York. We got the borders and stuff with a lot of commerce coming in. Then you move further over. We have We have still a lot of commerce and stuff because we got waterways and the train system. Then we get into farm area.
Mm.
And the further south you go to farm area, it gets into more laborious type of farming and stuff. It's not just farming you can do by a big old tractor and stuff. They're harvesting things like crawdads, and they're harvesting other type of things down there. So
Right.
the educational level isn't as important as it is in New England.
Right.
You know, high school diploma in some families down there. Well, yeah, he's the first to graduate from high school in the family. That's not uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I heard that in Texas a few times. And Texas is a big oil industry, and everybody was gravitating towards the oil fields. You know, so I mean, the country's divided up not just different by time zones, but also by cultural zones too.
So maybe he didn't know any better.
He might not have, you know, but still, everybody knows right from wrong. That kind of brutality wasn't wrong, but he might have been subject to that himself, like you said, and that's why he needs counseling, but he needs to be arrested. Because we can't make speculation that this is what happened. He just might have done that because that's what he do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the question begs, does he really care about the girl? Because do I think my parents care about me and cared about me? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I used to get beat. I used to the same way, on the couch or on the bed. Hands up. Don't block your behind from getting beat with the belt. Don't block your behind from getting beat with the cord. I used to get beat like that. So it's tough in today's age to really look at it and think that that's the way it's supposed to be, but I used to get spanked beat like that. So
there you go. I get beat. Did I think that I came from a single parent household? Did I think that that I was the one that was heavily loved? No. I was, because I was the middle child. I had an older brother who the world shined on. I had a younger sister who was the most beautiful young girl in the world, and then you got this vagabond heathen in the middle, and I'd be, when I left for Vietnam, bye. When I came back to get the key to get it in the house, she walked right by me.
Wow.
So I don't know. Did she love? Of course she did. But, I realized later on, after returning back from places like that, I was always the one that was called upon when there was something, even when I was young, if there was something that needed to be addressed, and then they always called me. They wouldn't call anybody, even when I was young. Go get your brother Joe, he'll take care of it. Go get, not just physical things, but any kind of thing like this here. We need to raise money in the house to get oil and stuff like that. Joe know how to handle this. Go get Joe. He'll help out and take it. Baco and Mona couldn't do anything.
Do you, so if there were video cameras back then, in your day when you used to get in trouble, do you think your mother would have gotten arrested if it would have been caught on video? No?
Nah.
Oh man, my parents would have been in jail. It would have been the same. Oh, they would have been locked up.
Nah, she wouldn't have got arrested for it. She might have. I mean, she hit me one with a knife.
No. Wow. Well, yeah. I think that might constitute.
But she knew what she was doing.
You with a knife, she knew it's okay. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, she's alright. My mother was a very saintly woman. Actually, when it came to it and stuff. And that's just, her form of discipline was beating and lecture.
Yep.
Lecture.
It'll make you want the beating sometime.
Give it to me. Yeah. But it was a different time. It was a happier time. I see kids now, and I couldn't be a kid now. It's boring. I'd be bored today. Even though when I was a kid, from my walk of life, I was mostly by myself all the time. Because that's how I liked it. And I wasn't bad, I was mischievous.
Right.
We lived in the project, I'd put lighter fluid You put a little needle hole in the light bulbs and stuff. Then when the light bulbs go on at 4 o'clock, the lighter fluid heat up and blow up.
Yeah, I would have beat you. I would have beat my kids did that. They would have got beat too.
I was just catch bees and put them in the elevator.
Catch bees and put them in the elevator.
Oh yeah, you live in a 7-story building. You just catch all the bees in the jar. You go catch them like this, and catch them like that, and then you go let them all out in the elevator. Had a lot of fun.
Oh, man. All right, let's stop.
So my beatings were justified.
Yes, they were. I'm not saying mine weren't justified. My parents definitely had good reason to want to beat the devil out of me because sometimes they probably thought I was possessed with stuff.
Yeah.
I used to get in trouble so much.
Yeah.
But so let's switch gears for a minute. Replica of missing World War II veterans monument to Worcester citizens of color. Dedicated at Lincoln Square.
Yeah.
After a decades-long effort, members of the African American community were pleased Thursday, the 76th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor, to see the newly dedicated monument to their friends and family who served in World War II. The memorial, erected in Lincoln Square at Lincoln and Belmont Streets, across from the police headquarters, is a replication of the Colored Citizens of Worcester honor roll that local African American communities put up December 5th, 1943 on nearby land donated by Belmont AME Zion Church. The original memorial has been missing since 1959 when the state removed it to make way for construction of Interstate 290 with a promise it would be returned. About 80 other memorials that were also removed for the project that tore through the predominantly African American community were returned. The rededication ceremony and the unveiling of the new memorial is the culmination of at least 4 decades of efforts by members of the community and city officials to locate the original memorial and later to get a new one constructed. The Central Massachusetts AFL-CIO raised $15,000 for the replicated memorial, which was designed and constructed by students at Worcester Technical High School. City manager Ed Augustus, leading advocate for the new memorial, said it was a way for the city to uphold its solemn duty to remember the sacrifice and struggles of the city's soldiers of color and to honor and preserve their memory. After 58 years, we are proud to see the honor roll erected here at Lincoln Square to remind us daily of our history. This dedication is not just about World War II, it's about Worcester and it's about our citizens, he told a crowd of more than 150 who turned out for the rededication. Local activist William Coleman III, who spearheaded the project, said he began trying to find the original memorial after someone from Worcester contacted the U.S. Senator Edward W. Brooke in 1976. Mr. Coleman, an aide for the senator, was asked to speak with the city officials at the time to try to locate the monument. What are your thoughts, Troop?
My thoughts, this was definitely a nice little. I got a lot of mixed thoughts on this here. The memorial, I can't take anything away from the memorial dedication. Mm-hmm. The fact that the blacks of Worcester, the colors that whatever they wanted at that time were called and stuff, the blacks of Worcester fought in World War II and stuff. Freely fought in World War II. See, these are the things that don't come out like this here. They freely fought in World War II. They went to war for the country that they themselves loved. Mm-hmm. You know, and they went for those reasons, for family and friends and home and stuff. So that's all powerful, and they need to be recognized and everything. But to make it sound like a great effort just because there was the plaque was missing, and because the plaque was missing, there was an injustice done to the black community, and the black community was torn apart by a road 290. That's what I'm hearing from this thing. Mm-hmm. And then they had the political people come out there and give their little speeches. We know politicians like to give their little speeches. That's what they like to do. You know, they like to come out and they like to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And so Ed Augustus coming out and saying whatever he says, nothing against Ed Augustus coming out was saying whatever he says, but take it for what it's worth. He's the politician coming out and saying whatever it says. To mention of Bill Coleman, who actually did most of the work doing all these things, getting all these people together, doing all those things. He's mentioned what, in the fourth column or something like that? It's like way down at the end. He's the black face in there.
Yep.
You know, he's the black face that was in there. Not the church. Not whoever was in the audience. Some people in the audience, 150 people, they were mostly made up of white faces.
Yep.
You know, and that's all right. To give credit, to give honor to the black soldiers and everything, you can never take away any of that for like that there. But you know, there's always, for me, there's that big giant butt that's involved in this here. It's a great honor for those people. They'll never know about it because they've gone on to glory. And hopefully that some of the people in the black communities can take a little time to just think about the sacrifices that were made on their behalf by many people, you know, through the development of this country, not just World War II. You know, a lot of blacks. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I fought in Vietnam. You know, they always say thanks for your service. I was a 19, 20-year-old kid. You know, I had no fear of death, no fear of anything. I was a highly trained individual at 19, 20 years old, walking around with more armament if I wanted it, doing things that just made me feel good, and had a curiosity that was beyond reach. Now, I didn't do it for any glories or any of those things like that there. No, that didn't enter into anything why I went to the show. I went there because I was nosy.
Okay.
That's
so
just me, and one more thing I'll say real quick. The other thing I want to say is that even before World War II, World War I, the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, War 1812, all those wars like that, they were always black Americans fighting for the freedoms in this country. This country was not solely developed and fought for and bloodshed by just one race of people, and it ain't even one race. There's no definition for a race. By one color of skin of people. You know, the people who fought and died for this country were Americans, all of them. No matter how they got here, what kind of problems they had while they were here, what kind of when the stuff hit the fan, they rose up as one people, just like on 9/11. When the stuff hit the fan, the flags went up. You didn't go, some people might have went around and counted the number of houses by different colored people and stuff like that. But no, came together as one class of people, American. And that's what the people really did back in those days. They really came together for one class of people. And it was on December 7th, kind of a little irony there, for the dedication of this plaque. You know, I don't know why they chose Pearl Harbor Day, but Pearl Harbor Day within itself was maybe because they thought it was a representation. It was the actual entrance of America into the Second World War. You know, and they didn't, I don't know if they mentioned Dory Miller. You know, it's like there's so much that about the history of African Americans in the military and the military sacrifices, engagements, honor, all kinds of stuff that's out there and stuff. Oh yeah, okay. I'll pat myself. Go to the Buffalo Soldier National Museum, which I was happily one of the people involved with down in Houston, Texas, and you can learn all about this stuff.
All right, so there's a couple things. We had a discussion yesterday, on Tuesday, about the significance of this thing.
Yeah.
And I was almost talked out of thinking that this was of any significance.
Yeah.
almost talked out of thinking that there was any importance to this.
Mm.
Oh, so let me start here. You went into the army when you were 19 and 20.
Yeah, Vietnam.
And because you wanted to see the world.
Yeah.
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Totally.
You still did something that millions of people were too afraid to do, did not want to do, and did not have the backbone to do. And that's go and fight for our country. And for that, you are still a hero. For that, you still get the accolades of thank you for your service. No matter what your heart was behind it, you still did it. Moses didn't want to go ahead and free the Jew. He couldn't even, the first thing he said to God was, I can't even talk.
Yeah.
He tried to talk himself out of it. He was a reluctant. Just because you didn't wake up and rip your shirt open and revealed an S doesn't mean that you're not a hero when you do something. Now, about this honor roll plaque, when I drive by and see this and I see Citizens of Color honor roll, it's going to make me feel proud as a black person. Look at what my black people did.
And it should. That's powerful.
That's huge.
That's powerful. That should ignite some kind of pride within the black people.
Yes.
Yeah, especially in Worcester.
Yes.
You know, I mean, about as I can see in Worcester and everything, it's like there's a lot of people in Worcester that don't even understand Worcester.
Right.
Worcester was like a haven for black people.
Yep.
People would escape from down south, come up to New England. And there was one part of those people that would go over to New Bedford, Fall River, Cape and everything, and sign on whaling ships and stuff. And then when they made money and everything, they'd go to Worcester. I don't know why this kind of thing happened and stuff, but that's what they did. You know, and they settled in Worcester, and they made Worcester their home and stuff like that. That was then, you know, way back in the day.
Right.
You know, and now, you know, today the African Americans in Worcester are getting chased out.
Right.
So to put something in there that's going to give them a sense of pride and a sense of belonging, because this the inclusion of the sense of belonging is what's missing. It you know, the history's there.
Yep.
But the people don't feel included, so they it's like, this don't mean anything.
Right.
Yeah, and that's too bad. I hope it does spark some interest in the people looking into their own background when they look at, even on the holidays, if they see their grandfather or something like that and say, you know what, you know, were you in the war? And if he says no, that's all right. What did you do when you was a young person? And they listen to the stories that they have to tell them and stuff. You know, we don't simply have to be a written historical society. We can still be societies that get their history through stories. You know, because the books are there. But most of the books and most of the internet type of stuff is so make-believe that it's not even, you can't tell whether it's real or not.
Right.
You know?
So, when people...
And I'm not a hero, except for all the medals I have.
Sounds like one to me. When we had, when we were having that discussion, it was someone having the discussion with us that was saying it does nothing for the community, it does nothing for the poor, it does nothing. Sometimes, it was Mike. Sometimes having a semblance of pride, sometimes showing, look at the great things your people has done, can help spearhead someone to get up one day and want to do something, whether it be serve in the army themselves or do things to help their community, to make their community better. But like you said, seeing something like that, Citizens in Color, history in Worcester, will make you say to yourself, you belong here. Yeah. Your people have done a lot for the city. You belong.
And they got, I don't know, they got the Frederick Douglass reading and stuff. Frederick Douglass was here.
Yep.
In Worcester. It's like he met with John Brown in Worcester talking about Harper's Ferry and stuff. People don't know that.
Nope.
You know, it's like there's so much of the African American history that just not being put out there. Not just here, but in other places too. And you know, that's a shame.
Yep.
That's the shit. Cause like I said, it doesn't have to be written down so you can read it. You know, you can't get the history from the dead now without reading it. But you can still get some of that history from their offspring.
Yep.
What was Great Gramps like? You know?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you know, if my grandchildren ask me what my grandfather was like, I could tell them.
Mm.
You know? And I should tell them. You know, and then they don't have to go write it down and give me a paperback on it, but they hear it.
Yep.
And that generates I believe, a sense of pride in it, you know. But it's a two-way street too.
Yep.
The older generation has to not feel as though they're afraid to talk about what they did, you know, what their time was when they were the younger generation and stuff like that. The younger generation, they need to hear the stories and just have a good time interacting with their kinship in that level. And this is great. Not just looking at the pictures on Facebook or making it, oh look how I made all the pictures into a video for the TV. You know, I mean, just sitting down there hearing the stories. You know when I was your age, we used to have a railroad track and we used to have the little wild berries down there. We used to go pick the berries and stuff. They would sneak into this yard and get the apples off the tree, and then they got the grapes over here. And we make a circuit of fruit and stuff. And we get yelled at when we got home, but it seemed like that fruit always got dispersed around. They got eaten by everybody. You know, so I mean, they're kind of fun stories and stuff, but they're still stories that won't take place in today's kids.
Nope.
And they can have a sense of pride about, yeah, my great-great-grandfather was just like me. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's what the plaque can do and bring pride to it. And the way it was put out there like that, you know, the politicians got out there and did their political thing. And then that's what they do.
Yep.
That's expected.
So, I don't know. I like I said, I think it's a powerful thing. I think it was a great thing. I mean, when we were talking about it, and it was like, oh, this does nothing. This is nothing for it does nothing for black. I was like, almost, okay, I understand now that I've seen it, and I've seen the plaque, and I've seen the presentation. No, man, it does a lot for the.
It's powerful.
Yep.
Recognition is powerful.
Yep, it is.
And then imitation is even more powerful. You know, if the children can imitate, I want to be like Great Gramps.
Yep.
You know, he was all right.
Because if one thing we know, these millennials, they are not going to war, boy.
They're not going anywhere.
Nope.
They want everything handed to them, and they're a funny lot for me, you know, because it's not my generation, and I'm looking at the millennials, and they'll tell you right in their face, no, I want this given to me.
I deserve.
Yeah, I deserve. It's like, this is what they say.
Yep.
And this is how they feel. It's like, I don't understand how that feeling. Where's your sense of adventure? You know, where's your sense of wanting to do something, and where you want to strive to make things? You don't. You just want to give it to you.
Yep.
Oh, there's something for socialism. Yeah, why should we be afraid of socialism?
Right.
It doesn't work.
Nope. Kudos to Bill Coleman for his hard work to get it done, and I'm glad everybody else who got on board and agreed to allow it to happen, allowed it to happen. Thank you, city officials, for allowing it to happen. Yeah, and it should have happened.
I give big shout outs to Bill Coleman for all the work he done and stuff like that. And yeah, I could point to stuff that he could have done a little bit better, but that's what people do.
Right.
But for the politicians and stuff like that, I know that I know personally that they was going to do something like that. That happened when I was one of I made Vietnam veterans, that's right folks, Vietnam veteran post number 1 in the United States of America, in Jamaica Plain, in a barroom where it started called Tommy John's in Hyde Square. Several of us got together and we worked hard and everything, and we got the first charter for Vietnam veterans. Post number 1. Had a parade with jets flying down Center Street, had motorcycles, all this here. Got to the other end of Center Street, set up for all the dedication. We didn't get to speak for about 2 hours because all the politicians were there. John Kerry, all these politicians just swapped right in there.
Yep.
And Coors beer, there was so much beer by the time that we got to speak, we were too drunk to talk. It was a great day, folks, but the politicians just showed up and dominated the whole thing, and they did absolutely nothing to develop Vietnam Veterans Post #1, just the same like with Bill Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
They all showed up at the end.
Yep.
But
after the work was done.
Yeah, after the work was done. And that's what politicians do.
Yep. All right. So thank you, Bill Coleman. Thank you, City, for allowing this to continue. And, I hope you guys have some pride, all my black people, when you drive by and see that. Have some pride, some self-pride in some of the things that your forefathers have done for this country.
And stop all that whining.
Yeah.
It's like,
not inclusive.
Yeah, what inclusive? You're not inclusive. What's wrong with that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you complain about the slavery and all. Yeah, my ancestors were slaves. Not forever.
Right.
You
Well, before we go to break, Troop, we got one more story we're going to cover before we go to break. And then when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the reason why I'm still winning the bet of how we're going to go to war with North Korea first before Israel. Israel's not going to war. It's not going to be a war.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that when we come back from break.
It's a world war.
Nope, it's not. Israel's not. I just realized it. No war. Michael Slager sentenced to 20 years in the shooting death of Walter Scott.
Oh, yeah, yesterday.
Michael Slager, do you remember the video, Troop, where the black guy in the light blue t-shirt was running away and the officer had his gun aimed and just shot about 8 times and in the back and killed him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was in 2015.
Yeah.
It took almost 3 years to finally convict this man, but he has run out of time. A former white South Carolina officer was sentenced to 20 years in prison on Thursday for fatally shooting an unarmed black motorist in the back in 2015, wrapping up a case that became a rallying cry for the Black Lives Matter movement. Attorneys for ex-North Charleston officer Michael Slager said that he shot 50-year-old Walter Scott in self-defense after the two fought and Scott reached for Slager's stun gun. They said race didn't play any role in the shooting, and Slager never had any racial animus towards minorities. Still, Slager pleaded guilty in federal court to violating Scott's civil rights. As a part of the plea agreement reached in May, prosecutors dropped state murder charges. A year ago, a state judge declared a mistrial when jurors were deadlocked. This is a tragedy that shouldn't have happened, U.S. District Judge David Norton said. A bystander recorded the shooting on a cell phone, and it was shared around the world, setting off protests across the U.S. as demonstrators said it was another egregious example of police officers mistreating African Americans. Scott's family testified before the sentence and said they had forgiven Slager. I'm not angry at you, Michael. Michael, I forgive you. And Michael, I do pray for you now and for your family because we've gone through a traumatic time, he said. The shooting angered local African Americans who complained for years that North Charleston police harassed blacks, pulling them over or questioning them unnecessarily as they cracked down on crime. The Scott family successfully pleaded for calm, asking everyone to let the justice system run its course. And run its course, the justice system did. This man, who should be stoned to death,
he should be stoned,
will now go to jail for 20 years.
And it doesn't sound like a whole lot, to 20 years. It sounds good. It sounds like justice and everything.
Yep.
And that's what it is. Justice is such a
Subjective.
It's subjective, yes. What is justice, you know?
Yeah.
You know, justice for this person is this, and justice for these people is this on the same issue. So, you know, he needs to be this. It's a shame somebody lost their life, and this guy here, did he have any kind of malice towards black people? Obviously, he did. You know, it's like, yeah, this guy here, he was taken up by whatever took him up long before he became a police officer. He should have never reached the ranks of the police officer. You know, and you know, doing those type of things like that. It's like, yeah, he would have got away with it if it hadn't have been filmed by somebody else. You know, and that's a good thing that he didn't get away with it. The bad thing, somebody died. But the good thing is that justice has been served. He's going away to jail. I hope there's no real parole for this or time spent or any of these things, like any kind of extenuating circumstances that lessen his stay in jail. I hope he stays in jail for 20 years and stuff. And I'm not wishing him to be mistreated in jail by people and stuff, but I hope he gets time to reflect on the things that he did and get some real help about, you know, the people in this world are people, no matter what you want to have in your head about what they are or what they should be. These are people just like you.
Yep.
And your abuse of power and stuff cost a man his life, and now you got to pay the price. That's justice, sir.
Yep. He was recommended by the district attorney to get 10 to 13 years. But the judge gave him 20.
As it should.
The judge was not bound by the recommendation, as it is with every case.
Yeah, as it should. And we still need to look at the police department out there. We still need to have some civilian type of interaction within the police departments out there at a much bigger level, because people like that do get in. You know, and people are still just people, though. That lady cop who killed the guy against the car.
Yep.
You know, they got the husband up in the helicopter yelling at her and stuff like this. Noise all over the place. 90 decibels of noise ignites a fear factor within you. So within that fear factor, you don't know what's going on, because you've gained an ability of one thing on a hormonal kind of release of adrenaline and stuff to make you stronger and meaner, but you've lost an ability of reasoning. You know, so she should have never been a cop. Put in a situation like that. She couldn't handle a situation of that much chaos. And so she slipped through the cracks too. The other guy who shot the guy who just said, you know, he told him right there in the car, I have a gun, I have a license, I'm reaching for my license. He shouldn't have been a cop. I mean, I don't know how that guy got to be a cop.
Right.
He panicked all over the place, you know. He saw a black guy, he heard about gun, and that was it. He didn't know what was going on. They slipped through the cracks, and this is what happens. And these are the 3 incidences, right? And that's what happened with these incidences, because they had no business being there in the first place. And I think that we have to have a better way of controlling who gets to be a police officer, and when you get to be a police officer, realizing that your job isn't to go out there and pass judgment on people. Your job is to go out there and protect and serve the populace of the United States of America. That's your job.
So what made it worse for Michael Slager was he charged that Walter Scott had tried to go for a stun gun.
Yeah, he lied.
He lied. After he shot Walter Scott, he walked over to him and dropped his stun gun next to the body of Walter Scott. So that also added to his sentencing, and which made his crime even more troublesome.
He lied. He knew he lied. He said, "I gotta back this up, so I gotta do this." It's like, turn the TV off, folks. This ain't a TV. I think I saw the same scene in Magnum Force or something with Clint Eastwood. When the cops were going around killing all the bad guys and planting the false information around. It's not a movie, folks. These are real live people, individuals. There's no rewind button.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody dies, they dead.
Yep.
They're dead. Yeah, and if we just stay in a place after that, we just complain and we want justice, we want this, that, and the other thing, and we don't want to have a solution to make change. You've done nothing.
Nope.
You've done nothing. You brought attention to it, so you've done a little, but you've actually done nothing.
Well, Michael Slager is 36 years old. He will be getting out when he's around 56.
Yeah.
That's his life has changed and will be changed forever.
It totally will change. And he's going into an environment where his mindset about people in jail, he may still think that they're the bad people and he's a good person.
Yep.
Yeah? And it's like, okay, well, you ain't in there with all your other people, you ain't got a gun on now.
Yep.
Tukey.
A texter, the thinker, says some people will still side with the police no matter how much evidence is against them.
And,
Another texter says, I definitely don't side with the police, and my husband was a 25-year veteran and a good cop.
Yeah.
Wrong is wrong, and this man was definitely wrong, and his sentence was right. Thank you, Marie D, for that comment.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And that's how it is. There's no sides to take. The police are your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
They're people. Just like you. They go to the same grocery stores as you do. They go to the barber shops. They go every place that you go. The movies. They do all the things that you do. They're people. It's their job that's so overpowering for some people's mentality. Some people ain't meant to walk around with a Batman belt on full of guns.
Nope.
You know, it's just not meant for them.
Nope.
And those people need not to be given the opportunities to be able to be police. There should be a civilian overwatch board that looks at the hiring and stuff like this and say, you know, I mean, just to be a McDonald's waiter, if you got a Corey, I understand that you don't get the job.
Nope.
Because you're working with the public.
Yep.
And this might be for something you did as a 12-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And now you say, man, I can't find a job. I'm going to work at McDonald's or something. I'm 26 years old now. Want to make a change in my life. I got to make some money to go to school. Corey says, 12 years old. You don't get the job.
Nope, you don't.
And if we can do that to McDonald's, why can't we do that to the hiring of police officers?
I don't know. Another texter says a good cop can still make a bad mistake.
Yeah.
And a texter says, yeah, but this isn't a case of a good cop making a bad mistake. This is a good cop having a terrible day, and he's going to pay for 20 years for the terrible day to the end.
Should.
Another texter says, and when we have good cops covering for bad cops, they are no longer good cops. Yeah. A lot of text today.
Yeah, like I said, it's they're neighbors. It's not a club. You know, you got to stay. You know, we got that mentality that, well, you're in this club because you're part of our organization now. You're part of we use the word family.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of our family, so as family, we have to bond and stick together. No, you're a damn murderer. I ain't bonding with you.
Right.
You're wrong. And that's what we should look at. You should be the individual first. You know right from wrong, do it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's our hardest problem now. We don't want to identify right from wrong.
Right.
We want to identify pleasure from emotion, and we want to identify we got to go and get.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad world out there.
It is, and unfortunately,
that's changing.
It is changing, and kind of scared of how it's changing.
Hey.
It ain't all necessarily changing for the better. I tell you that much.
I think that you know it's going to take a lot longer, but I think the racial issue is going to go away because it bores me. That's why I think it's going away. Yeah, I think that it's people are really coming to find out and stuff, at least think within themselves. You know, I want to be somebody when in this world. I want to leave a legacy in this world that says I was here. They talk this carbon footprint about they want to leave this stuff, but they don't act on it. If the only thing you want to leave in this world was I was a victim, then that's pretty easy.
Well, I don't know about racism being gone completely, but I definitely for a fact racism has taken a step back. It is not mainstream like it used to be even a year ago. Now it's all about women's rights, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment. Racism has gotten kicked out of the door.
Yeah, you ain't the big dog no more.
Even though Joyner Lucas' song "I'm Not a Racist" is still being talked about and causing tense conversations around the country.
Of course it is, because it's nonsense.
Well
put together, well scripted, and well acted out, but it's nonsense. It's just a whole lot of cliches and stereotypes all meshed together with gyrating body movements.
In its first week online, it's garnered 11,300,000 views.
There you go.
11 million views.
I'm glad for the guy. He did. Yep. They put energy into that. They worked it and stuff like that, but it's garbage.
All right. We'll take a break and we'll be back on Truth in the AM.
Listening to Black Lives Matter movement, then it all died because they never did anything. And then they got to look and realize that Julius is a predator, because that's what the super today is now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gone.
All right.
Yeah, that little fat ugly guy. He was a sloppy ugly guy like that. He looked like he needed a bath. But he was getting the little girls and stuff like that. The little son.